Okay, Roger Dodger. There we go. I really like these lights. These lights, they're kind of technicolor here. Some photography lights. Get through some photography studio work, some portraits, portraitures. Some portraits. I'm going to be working on a painting. We're having a gig at Beyond Broke on Venice Boulevard on the 18th. The band called the Nymphs are playing. So I kind of like some of the colors and some of the photos and videos that I've seen. So I'm going to be doing that. We were just talking about how whose life am I living today? It's like throughout the whole process I kept thinking, I've heard this before. We've done this. This is totally routine. Boy, I'm having the strangest day. And I'm reflecting, I'm going, who I know who was talking about this is Jack Kornfield and Ram Dass. They're talking about how, like, from the minute that we get up, we start this very, very busy day. All of a sudden, it's like really pretty much like almost a complete panic attack. We're rushing off over to go do our business on our toiletry from the very beginning. And then what is going on? Everybody's micromanaging themselves and each other through the whole process. Put on your shoes, put on your shirt, here's your lunch, get your shoes on, come on, hurry up. What are you doing? I remember going through those processes, and I just kind of stop and think that we think about the awareness meditation, the open space, the quiet, serene area, nice and quiet, how our thoughts are like the sky, and our thoughts are like the clouds that go through the sky, just taking note of them, just watching them go by. Not hitchhiking a ride on one of those clouds. They said, I said, they did this, I did that, and it turns into this, that, and the other thing, and who knows how much of it's actually really real about this point. Really more like some sort of planning, some sort of revengeful planning. I'm thinking, now, whose life am I living? I put on the meditation tape. I'm going, I'm having the strangest day. And I'm just going to start this meditation tape. I have it all queued up. I don't understand why I'm all of a sudden already at 20%. It's been charging up all day and all night. Now all of a sudden I'm at 20%. Dismiss. Video might end any minute now. Nothing's for sure. Everything could end any minute from now. I was working for an insurance company, and I guess, kind of exposed to a lot of scenarios. We're scheduling a photographer in Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, and some other state up there. I'll tell you what that was. It was, I don't have it here. I should have got it over on the other. Two mountain time zones and two central standard time zones. So what we have out there is a big giant hurricane, and then another big giant hurricane. I know what we talked about, an earthquake in Mexico, 300 dead, how many missing, and 8.1. Typhoon Hato in China, turning into a hurricane going out the Pacific Islands. A volcanic activity and an earthquake and a hurricane in Ireland. And Kansas City floods. And what was it? It was it was a solar event. It was when they have that eclipse. So it's like this big giant complete solar eclipse, the complete kind, the kind that doesn't happen that often, only millennia. And then they're looking at both of the Western astronomy and in ancient traditional Indian Ayurvedic medicine, Jyoti astrology, Jyotish, stated about the same thing about 250 years ago. Now, if you say 300 years ago, that was 1717, so 25 years from there, let's see, I calculated that. 1717, so 78, 68, 50 more years, 250 years ago, be 1768. So you look it up, what's going on. The American Revolution's going on, and it's a worldwide war. The French Revolution's going on. 300 years before that, so many different citizens were being executed. Heresy, it's witchcraft, it's vampires, vampire kits, vampire killer kits. I'm asking, hey, have you ever seen these? And I go, what is it? I go, well, it's a vampire killing kit, a vampire hunting kit. You know, it's in a wooden case. It has a pistol, you know, like one of those big giant musket pistol things. A silver bullet, a stake, a mallet, a rosary, holy water, a Bible, a cross. I wonder how many innocent vampires got killed with those. Or how many innocent women, girls, which is basically really a rape. The grandmother showed him how to put sulfur on the end of the stick and strike it and make fires. She's a witch. I saw her. She struck fire. You know, or astronomers had to break down all their equipment. And who was that real famous guy who was writing his articles? He was actually publishing them. And he kept his books and everything buried and hidden away. He would have been executed, but he was predictions, Nostradamus. So he was really iffy, but they allowed his publications because, you know, for entertainment, and seemed to be popular. But he was on the list. He was on the hit list. They actually found out his actual practices or the way that he actually found stuff out. Found his books and stuff like that. He would have been gone. Or was that they actually used mirrors for projectors. Leonardo da Vinci is one of the artists that engaged in this practice also. So these were all taken down. They were even saying if they're even in a hurry and they only used one mirror instead of two types of lens mirrors, they'd actually even just sketch out their scene upside down and then paint it later. Or if you have enough time and you have the two lenses set up with the mirrors and so forth, then you can actually trace your images right side up. Actually, upside down drawing is actually really pretty fun. They were saying it pretty much takes the pre-programming images out of our mind, and we're really just recording the lines that we actually see. You know, you can always verify it, turn it back around the other way and stuff, but they're actually really saying it takes all that other stuff out and kind of reduces kind of an error margin, gives it more of a natural accuracy kind of a thing to it. And so what's the other thing? So I'm going, well, whose life am I living? I'm having a strange day. Okay, the phone rings. Okay, and as usual, right? and it's like I even hear like someone else even relating this experience. The phone rings. I try to answer it as usual. It times out by the time that I get it. It goes to voicemail. So I had the first voicemail to listen to. So I can go ahead and delete that because I already have the information on it. Okay, so then there's this little menu, and this opens up and it gives me some choices. Okay, so I close the menu, but that now disables my ability, the options to actually delete this email. The only option that's actually really given to me is press 9 to save or star to exit. Right. So anyways, I'm thinking, hey, you know, I'll just disconnect this call. I'll just, you know, like as usual, delete the email message next time I log on to email or voicemail. Next time I go to voicemail, then I'll have that option. Go ahead and delete that. You know, otherwise I have all these messages and I can't delete any of them, and I need to get the information. It's already all these voicemail messages on there, and I'm trying to get to the number to find out who it is that called, so I can call them back right away. So everything turned out. I called them. I got the interview for tomorrow. So there's quite a few things on there. As usual, you're filling out the online application. Now, I mentioned by law we need the application. Yeah, if you could please just invest your time in going online, fill out the application. And then what does it do? It times out, right? There wasn't any period of inactivity. I was putting in the information, so I go back to find out how much information I actually really have or where I actually really was. So basically I was on the same page. I just have to put that information back in that page again. Go ahead and log back on. As usual, I did a Bank of America application, and they said, oh yeah, a lot of our employees, they believe that they had put in the information. I had lots of information. It times out like on a regular periodic basis. They're saying what you have to do is make sure you keep saving it. Keep saving it, keep saving it, keep saving it, right? You know, especially if you have like, you know, more information to put in. If you work at more than like, you know, 1, 2, or 3 jobs, or if you have more information for like the past 10 years of all the addresses and contact information and residents and, you know, this full investigative type information and material that they want to know. So yeah, people are frustrated. Phone menus, I got people calling up. It's the deadline for insurance. They're in absolute tears. It's illegal not to have insurance. They've been trying to get insurance. They've been trying to call. They've been trying to make sure they had some time to call. You have to call during regular business hours, and what's everybody doing during regular business hours? Aren't they at work? Right? And so what do? You got half an hour break. You got an hour break for lunch. You just have a 10 or 15 minute break during the day, and you try to call. You got all these menus. You put on hold. You go into the voicemail. You got to get back to work. You can't stay on the phone. You know, so I'm going like, now whose life am I living here? I've heard all this. Okay, so the first thing I do, I get the appointment for tomorrow. They send me the information. So I go over into the kitchen. Right, I made a nice chocolate cake last night. Maybe it's like too much sugar, too much butter and powdered sugar in that icing. They had this cocoa. I haven't been able to get cocoa for a while, and so I finally made a chocolate cake after a long time. It's been at least a couple of years. I've been making banana nut bread. What's the other thing? And cinnamon roll cake. You know, I make sure I got something, I make something, I can take it to work with me, otherwise then I have to spend some money on stuff. It's a lot better if I make something here, I've got take something to work for lunch and for breaks. Make sure I've got something, otherwise I'm spending some money. And so what is it? It's so last night when I had a piece of chocolate cake, I put it in a refrigerator because I couldn't eat it all. It was really pretty sweet. I got up a little bit later and had the rest of it. And so what happens, you know, everything gets kind of stuck to the plate there. So I just put some water on the plate and set it there. So I come in the morning. I still got some coffee in there, so I pour the coffee. I get out the cake, cut out a piece of chocolate cake. I put it on the plate. And I'm thinking, boy, that looks like one of those sponges. I almost picked it up and threw it in the trash. And I'm going, no, that's your chocolate cake. And so then I start to eat it, and I turn on the light, and there's the water.